remember growing up, one of the trickiest things in the morning was this shower schedule, because there were so many of us in only one bathroom. And so my father was really strict. He would sort of get us out of bed when it was time for us to take our shower, and we had exactly 15 minutes to go in, do what we needed to do, brush our teeth, all of that, take our shower, and get out. And if we were in the shower too long, my father was very quick to simply shut off the hot water. And trust me, you got out of the shower rather quickly when that happened. Or at least I did. My father really was sort of teaching us a really important lesson, sort of about time and how things should happen. It's kind of like what we learned from Ecclesiastes. There is an appointed time for everything and a time for every affair under the heavens. A time to give birth, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot the plant, and so on. There's a time for everything. And I think that's a lesson we really kind of lose as human beings. And we hear this in so many ways. How many people will tell you, well, if God is really a good God, then there would be no bad things happening to good people. Or they'll just dismiss God altogether. Or whatever happens good in their life is from them, and whatever happens bad in their life is, well, God, and again, God not doing his job. Because if God was truly loving and caring about us, he would never allow us to suffer. He would never allow these bad things to happen. This is the same God who allowed his Son to die on the cross out of love for us. We can never forget that. Again, there is a time for everything. And yes, unfortunately, because of the fall, because of original sin, bad things are going to happen to good people. And because people in this day and age will choose to do things that will be harmful to others. It's the problem with free will. God could stop bad things happening, but that means he would have to stop us from being human beings. He would have to stop us from being able to choose what will happen in our lives. And because of this human condition, our desire at times to choose poorly. And sometimes the choices we have will impact others in ways we can't even anticipate. Adam and Eve really kind of wrecking things for everyone. So there is a time for everything. And unfortunately, there is a time that we may well suffer. It's not what God wants for us. It's just part of the reality of human life. So the question is, what will we do with that time? Will we allow that to define who we are? Or will we choose to define it in a different way? And that's actually what Jesus does. As he faces the truth of the cross, as he faces the reality of what is to come, he says those simple words, "Not my will, but your will." In that moment, he chooses to love God above all things. And as he hangs on the cross, he turns to the Father. "Into your hands I commend my spirit." And it's there that I believe we really kind of begin to see the beginning of the resurrection. It is in that moment as Jesus hands everything over to the Father, that even as he hangs on the cross, the healing begins. And the same is true in our own lives. We're going to face difficult moments, painful moments. And in that moment, what are we going to do? What are we going to choose? How are we going to choose to react? It is very easy to be overwhelmed and to allow the moment to define what we do. But Jesus teaches us a different way. In that time, he chose to place his whole trust in the Father. And that's what he calls us to do. As we face those painful moments, those times when we are mourning, those times when the stones are being scattered, those times of death and uprooting, we can choose to define it by our faith. We can choose to define it by our trust in God. We can choose to define it by commending our spirit to the Lord. And in there begin to find the healing. In that moment, by dying to ourselves, to find the grace that raises us up to new life. There is an appointed time for everything, and a time for every affair under the heavens. But no matter what the time is, there really should be only one thing that defines everything we experience. And that is our faith and the trust that we place in God's love and mercy that can transform everything. And so in every time, our life should be defined by that faith, by that trust, and by that experience we will have of God's love and mercy. God bless.